This is Matt Muller from Westwood Church. It's like my brief story in a nutshell. I was incarcerated at the age of 17. I was in the Minnesota Department of Corrections from 2003 to 2022, where I began work release. I started working at Westwood Community Church as an evening janitor, got promoted to being the facility manager there, and now I've transitioned into the role of multiplication director. And along with that, along with planting micro churches and small groups, is being able to be involved in prison and reentry ministry. We started there. We host once a month a reentry breakfast that is kind of stewarded by Mission 2911. Tom Lundquist, who's with Prison Fellowship for a lot of years, has been running this group for a long time. We've been able to put this group under the roof of Westwood. It's been awesome because we have developed a partnership with, like, folks in our congregation have started to become volunteers for it, signing up to mentor individuals and stuff. So it's been like this mutual blessing with our congregation, and then also just like providing a space for people, like a landing spot each month to this fellowship. So along with that, I have kind of brought forth this idea to Westwood Church of National Second Chance Month and what that is. And they were all behind it and support. So we're going to be posting a couple events next week to honor National Second Chance Month. The first will be Second Chance Month worship service. It'll be at our Bush Lake campus. It's actually like 6 minutes from here, straight up East Bush Lake Road. So, and the address and stuff is on the flyers here, but it's going to be on April 26th, Friday, April 26th. Doors will open at 6:30. We're going to have some fellowship time, and then from 7 to 8 will be the program. It's going to be completely led, hosted by music, worship. Everything will be by people who are formerly incarcerated. We're going to get to hear some stories on cool things guys have been doing since they've been out. Some testimonies, like I said, worship music. So it's going to be really good. And then on Tuesday, the 30th, from noon to 3, we're going to have a second chance job fair and also employment readiness. So it's going to be, we're going to have 11 employers and another 10 organizations that will be there. So we're going to have 21 total booths of resources for men and women who are reentering, or just doesn't even have to be someone reentering. Could be, we've had interest from county probation, so people who have never been incarcerated but have a criminal record, finding a tough time getting a job. We're going to have jobs there and resources. We're also going to have 7 HR professionals there who are will do one-on-ones with people if they want to do, like, whether they want to do a mock interview, direct resume help, how to job search, just anything. We'll have laptops available for people if they want to work on resumes right there. They can print them out or do different things like get accounts set up through Indeed or whatever that looks like. So yeah, so really just trying to bring a full body of support to individuals in that. So I've been blown away by the amount of companies. Like, I just recently, over the last 2 weeks, we've got 3 more companies who have never been involved with second chance hiring from a promotional standpoint that said, we want to do it, we're in, we're going to have a booth there, you know. So it's really cool. So yeah, so that's a little bit. Yeah, if there's any questions.
So were you kind enough to share a pizza with me when we had a movie preview there with Tim?
Yeah, probably. Yep. So yeah, at the Bush Lake campus.
Never forget the pizza, John.
Yeah. Yes. So
and tell a little bit about that. So your involvement.
Yep.
Just current.
Yeah.
You that was a movie
preview. Yep. So really, like, when I started, like, Westwood came alongside me when I was incarcerated back in 2010, and that's kind of how my relationship with them started, from my mentor that I had while I was in prison. He went to that church and he introduced me to the pastor. So it's like I've had this connection with them for a long time. So when I started working there, I mean, they've shared my faith story, and like people have always connected and stuff like that. But yeah, Westwood has been open to like hosting it, just for like using the building to host events. We hosted a movie premiere of a documentary called Voices of Reentry. And yeah, we're able to have 150 or so people out there to just we had the video, and it walked through this process of reentry kind of that was out on the East Coast, but we also had a really large panel of men and women who have been released here in Minnesota and got to share their experience and answer like questions, like do some Q&A stuff there. So yeah, Westwood's been really kind of like in like we've been doing it, we've been pushing it. I think like now, like resourcing me from a staff position, like kind of like commissioning me to be like, go do this stuff. You know, we're gonna continue to, like Second Chance Month is already built into our teaching calendar that like next year it will be even more from like a church standpoint, like a promotional standpoint. We look to have like a actual like a Sunday sermon at all of our campuses that will be like focused on second chance and reentry and helping people out in that way. Yeah, just looking to continue in any efforts like that we can. So
Thank you, Matt.
yeah, thank you. We need to go here and then John, what's ever left.
I'll be just taking with you and pat him out. He's not shy.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
And they're two-sided, both of the,
Hold on.
Ready?
So typically I have to prepare a station. Come on up.
John, tell a few stories about me. Can I use this as a little bit of a podium here?
Tell stories
I'm gonna
about.
pull it this way. just-
Oh, it's gonna change the camera.
Camera.
Oh, did I? Sorry. I'm just trying to get this a little closer.
See that owl? It's got its eye on you.
Yeah, that's all right. It's not the only one.
Here.
Well, I'm not gonna be your probably typical presenter.
Oh, we don't have to.
As I tell people, I'm just a lowly plumber who trying to be obedient to God. Holy too. I'll just I'm gonna kind of start off from cradle to grave here and just tell a little bit about what we do. And you said my phone here so I can watch the clock.
No, I'll help you.
Okay, you said up to a half hour, right?
You just hold until I bring the pizza in and then you're good.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna try to keep it at a half hour. So when I start getting down, it's 11:27. So when I get down to about 3 minutes, give me a little finger. So yeah, thanks John and Steve for opportunity to invite me today. I always like to share about what God's doing, and we all have different angles and bents to things, don't we? But it's just cool how it all kind of comes together. So that's why we have the R3 Collaborative, I guess. And yeah, so I'm married my high school sweetheart. We had our 43rd dating anniversary day before yesterday. Yeah, we went and celebrated. And I don't feel like I'm 43. My wife doesn't look like she's 43. And I have 4 awesome kids. They all love Jesus. They're all radical about Jesus. They're all married. I got 9 grandkids, and half of them know the Lord. And it's just, I've been so blessed. I grew up in a home where we go back as far as I know, family following Jesus. And I heard stories of my like great grandparents and great grandparents who I never knew working at the Salvation Army in 1900-ish, in Minneapolis, kind of doing the same kind of stuff. I just so cool how that godly heritage. I'm just so thankful for my godly heritage. Especially when we see people that come up without a godly heritage and how difficult it is. So yeah, awesome family. I chose to follow Christ at a young age, about 5 years old, and remember it being a very emotional time. And in 1974, I was 10 years old. I am how old I am. I had a pretty severe accident. I got run over by a car and I got pushed under the car 3 blocks down the road. And my bike absorbed all the road rash. I didn't have a scratch on my body. And I'd just gone for a 3-block ride underneath the front of this car. And I did break my leg, probably from the impact, but God miraculously put me back on top of that bike and moved for a ride down the road. I'm 10 years old, didn't think much of it then. Fast forward, I'm about 20 years old now, and I'm married. And you just start thinking, I got married at 20, my wife was 19. And I just started thinking, okay, God, why am I here? Right? He got me through this amazing, accident, and he obviously had his hand on me. So kind of from that day on, it was just, I'm going to follow Jesus with my whole heart, whatever he wants me to do. I was fortunate to have good parents who led by example. And my mom was always reaching out, helping people. And my dad did a lot of prison ministry stuff. John and Steve both know my dad, and that guy, my dad would go 300 miles to bring a guy home after he got out of prison. As long as that guy would listen to all my dad's dumb jokes. And but my dad, he went home to be with the Lord 10 years ago now. So, but it was kind of interesting because my dad did a lot of prison ministry, so it was modeled to me at a young age. So, Sunday morning I'd go with Dad to Faribault or Stillwater or wherever. Got inside quite a few times. Played a lot of sports inside. That was really rough back in the day, especially Stillwater prison sports. But man, it was just a great thing, and people still talk about it. So I was the hyperactive kid, like a lot of us maybe, that especially if we got involved with opioids and things like that. I walked at 8.5 months and I never quit. And very few people knew what to do with me. I think it was good that I wasn't born 10 years later, because they probably would have started me on Ritalin or something that could have been a pathway to where, right? So, man, just again, God's providence that they were able to control me and keep me busy, and just go dig a hole in the backyard for half a day, whatever it took to wear me out. And I had an awesome, my grandfather lived with us most of the time, and he was just one of those fabulous grandpas, and so thankful for him. And but my addictive personality, I remember some of us older guys remember pinball was the thing, right? I could go and rack up my pinball games, and the adrenaline, endorphins would start flowing. Then if you were really good, you could sell your games. I get like $3 for selling somebody 12 games I racked up on my pinball machine. But I remember feeling that, just that addictive behavior to it. And when it wasn't going well at pinball, I knew how to get quarters out of the phone, or out of the lockers. And it's like, I would never steal a thing in my life. But, now I'm older, I think about it, I go, that's horrible, that I did that. So you can see I had all the predispositions to addictive personality. And I'm a guy, when I stick with something, I don't quit it. Like, I've been on the same job 42 years now. And
You're 40 years old.
yeah. No, I don't. I said I feel like I'm 42 years, 43 years old. But I've been on the same job 42 years, full time. And but yeah, just realizing my addictive personality. Like, for instance, after my wife and I had twins, our first 2 kids, my wife had to quit work. Okay, so on top of my 3 jobs, I go get a paper route. Well, finally, after 16 years of the paper route, my wife says, "Hey, this is enough," because I'd probably still be doing that paper route. I just love doing it, getting up early, taking the kids with me. But I'm really addictive personality. I'm a lot like my mom. My mom's just a lot like me. And addiction hit our family about 12, 14 years ago. I like to talk about this because this could be me, but it was my 7-year-old mother who led me to Christ. And she got addicted to gambling. And the same time with her addiction to gambling, she was managing my uncle's estate. Guess what happened?
It went away. 3
felonies later, my 70-year-old godly mother. I mean, that's not a typical story we hear, right? And, but she was giving, but she was like a vacuum packed bag. She wasn't getting filled up on the other end. And, pride gets in the way. We don't want to ask for help. And so that really hit home with us. And as a family, we laid it all out on the table, all my adult kids, and, we got through it. It wasn't easy. I think it put my dad to an early grave because, the person living with that person is one of the most difficult things. So it's interesting how addiction has hit our family, but, in a little bit different way. A little bit of my ministry stuff. Again, I started as a WANA leader. And before you know it, I'm hanging out in crack house. The idea is when Junior comes to Awana, you go meet the parents. And before you know it, I'm hanging out in crack houses, but I had no idea. I mean, I grew up in Plymouth, Minnesota, right? In the 70s, 60s. And but I just kept loving on these people. And to this day, one of them is my top plumber that works for me. And God saved the parents and saved Marcus, and it's just been a really cool journey. So God, it started with Awana, then we started playing basketball at the church, and I had the keys to the church, and I knew a lot of guys. I was mentoring a guy from the north side, got to meet his friends. Before you know it, we had over a 6-year period, we had 400 guys, mainly from the north side of Minneapolis, come through our church and our gym. And we called it Hoops Church. Pretty cool, huh? And we would sit down in the middle, and we would, feed them physically and then feed them spiritually, and just to build those relationships. And to this day, I'm in touch with many of them. So that's a little bit of ministry stuff. I'm currently a board member at Damascus Way, so work with Marlon, and I'm kind of one of the boots on the ground guys. I love getting in there with the guys, just taking them out for a cup of coffee or challenging them or celebrating with them, whatever that looks like. And so kind of how ChainBREAKERS started is me hanging out with these guys. Before long, we're filling up the cafeteria and at the old place, and we're running out of space. So I said, well, let's go to the church. We got a little bigger room about this size, and then we filled up the room this size, and then one thing led to another, and it just continued to grow. So that's kind of how that started, and it's been about 6-7 years, something like that. So we meet in Golden Valley Thursday night, so tonight 6:30 to 8. Kind of what it looks like is we basically have the night broke up into 4 different sessions, and we start with a little worship, and most of the people that serve at Chain are in recovery themselves. The guy that leads our worship is a fallen pastor. He was a pastor, wasn't even a believer. He went away to a restoration ministry and found the Lord, and now he works for me, which is really cool. So we got a lot of stories like that, and so he leads our worship. Then we have an icebreaker time where there's usually a question posed, and you get to hear from everybody. Come up and grab the mic, and you never know what's going to happen when they get the mic, but it's pretty cool. And that seems to be one of the favorite things, because they get talked to enough. They like to come back and share what's on their heart. So the icebreaker time is really popular. Every week we have a testimony, and it's not always a gun testimony. We actually highlighted this last summer, I think it was, but we highlighted people that had been through the death of a child, the death of a teenager, cancer, healing, dementia, disabilities, just so they realize there's more. God brings us through more things than prison and jail and drugs and things like that. There's a lot of people, chronic pain, that are dealing with stuff on a regular basis, and maybe they weren't all healing stories, but how did God give me the grace to get through losing a 7-year-old daughter? And we actually have all these things recorded online as well. So we don't just focus every week. Most people use it for some kind of a recovery meeting. It'd be different than any GA or NA or AA group that people would go to. So people really seem to like that. The group of people that we work with would be, a lot of ex-cons. Damascus Way is 3 blocks from where we're at, so the guys can walk there. So we kind of got an automatic feeder, which isn't really fair, but we'll take it. It works really well. But we just want these guys to know they're loved, and after they leave a Damascus Way, they're welcome to come back. They don't have to just leave, so they have a safe place to go. Steve's a great example of that. Steve was mentored by a couple of the men in our church, and how many years ago did you graduate from Damascus Way?
I was in Damascus Way in 2010.
2010, yeah. And now here we fast forward 14 years later. He's a good brother of mine. I could just spend some time in Florida with them, so that was even better. But give the guys hope, because as you know, some of these people get out of some kind of incarceration, Minnesota Adult Teen Challenge, with all the best intentions in the world. And one of our guys, it's one of our head guys, Jeremy Crow. I don't know if anybody knows Jeremy Crow, but he's a Damascus Way guy and a Teen Challenge guy. And he told me one day, he said, I graduated. By the way, I'm going to graduation right here. But he said, when I graduated with 4 other guys. So it was Jeremy and 4 other guys. And a year later, 3 of them were dead. And, it just told me that people need that continued, you live under Teen Challenge or prison, you have that kind of that dome over you, and then they throw you out here. And, the enemy's waiting at the doorstep, waiting to kill, steal, and destroy. So we just want to be that bridge to the church. A lot of churches, don't know how to accept those that maybe come out of Teen Challenge or come out of incarceration. And we're not trying to be the church. We function a lot like a church, but we want to be the bridge to the church. So ideally, what would happen is the men and women that come to our group find a mentor, get connected with somebody at their church, accountability, it's all a good thing. So that is what we attempt to do there. Some of the other people groups we work with, this just kind of developed, but addiction in the church, people growing up in the church that are struggling. In a lot of churches, there's not a lot of help or experience for people going through addictions, and alcohol and pornography being the top two. And so we've seen just a lot of broken marriages, a lot of people coming. In fact, we have a marriage barbecue at our house this week, and let me tell you, it's an eclectic group, but it's just so cool when God brings all these people together. So we have the ex-cons, we have people with addictions in the church. It's also been a community for the unchurched, people that just not, that church is too big, so they make it. They're very faithful and very regular. We have quite a few, mainly single men and women, older, that come to there. And then the last one, and this one, who is this served? Who this is really served? This is served the church body, the body of Christ, the believers that maybe have been complacent and looking for an opportunity to come alongside and serve. There's a lot of people sitting in our churches that are just kind of sitting idle and showing up for church services. But you'd be surprised when you gently spur somebody and give them an opportunity, and they come and taste and see that the Lord is good. How he gets in there. I got one buddy, Ron Lyric, who owns Interscapes, and if anybody knows him, he's given a lot of these guys jobs, just constant. Thank you for getting me out of my comfort zone and get out there. And that's what God wants us to do, spur one another on. But the church is sitting pretty complacent. There's a lot of good people given the opportunity, will come alongside. So just a little idea of who comes to this thing. And, we have a pastor and his wife that come. They were at a conservative Baptist church their whole career at Parker's Lake Baptist in Plymouth, Minnesota. Plymouth, Minnesota, pretty comfortable, pretty easy, right? And all of a sudden they get involved with ChainBREAKERS. It has changed their world. And they're retired couple. We knew them for quite a while. And it's just, I wish I could go on and tell story after story, but it's just rocked their world. And walk alongside these people. In fact, Pastor Craig himself was mentoring a guy named Craig who just got out of Teen Challenge, and they were doing well, and Craig made a bad decision and overdosed and died. So here's this pastor mentoring one of his first guys, really pouring himself into it. And the guy overdosed and died. But the world needs Jesus. So we know that we've lost a couple in the last 3 months or 4 months. Lost Molly. Molly is a Teen Challenge in Minneapolis. She had a mentor, everything going for her. But it was one dark moment, one bad decision. But we know her with Jesus. But it's really, ChainBREAKERS is my retired accountant comes every week and walks alongside people. We have a retired missionary that our church used to support. And he was, most missionaries probably grew up in the church, wouldn't you agree? This guy was a dope dealer, turned missionary. And so he loves ChainBREAKERS. And so Tom Moore is just solid. So we got a lot of solid support from older, wiser, mature believers, and we just keep stretching them, and it's just so fun to watch that group. So those are the groups of people we serve. Again, I mentioned we're a bridge to the church. We are we don't ask for money. The church I go to, Oak Grove, which is across the street, has a small budget. But it's just kind of fun to be able to be involved in a ministry and not have to worry about things, nowadays, because everybody's, trying to raise. And we have some private people who fund some things. We do have our 501c3. And what we do is we have giving opportunities for people. And, so I'm just going to tell you about it, just a couple of them so you get an idea, because you never know how God's going to show up at ChainBREAKERS or what's going to happen. I was just thinking while I was sitting here, I didn't have it in my notes. We had a guy come with his prison blues on. They got that prison blue jacket. You still got yours?
No.
No, you probably threw it out the window.
I don't know it. It's donated. Someone might be.
We had a guy walk in with him in winter time, and one of our guys that had been to prison goes, "Hey, give me your jacket." Grabs his jacket, he throws it in the garbage, he takes out his brand new jacket, gave it to the guy. That's cool. So that's the kind of stuff we do. I told everybody, "Hey, John, my half hour's not up yet, so you want to take a break or hang up pizza or wait a minute?" I'm getting close.
Keep talking.
Here's something else we would do, another giving opportunity. I told the group, I said, "Hey, pizza will be provided next week. We're going to provide it for you, but I want you to bless the driver. Just bless the driver." So I make this commitment, and then I walk out of there. Lord, who's going to bring these pizzas? I don't want somebody that's, some drug addict pizza delivery guy handing them a big tip. And so I walked out of there that night, and I just went over to the local Domino's, explained my situation, and "Hey, do you have any single moms or anybody that's hurting or sick or anything?" The guy was good. "No, this isn't the guy. We're gonna keep moving here, Lord." So I asked our youth pastor, who's at all the local establishments all the time, "Hey, Mr. Grant, anybody, any single moms, anybody that would be in need, and we just want to bless somebody. I can't think of anybody." So fast forward, it's Saturday. Okay, I told them on a Wednesday at the time. It's Saturday. I got to have somebody there by the next Wednesday. We're meeting on Thursdays now, so don't show up on a Wednesday night. Okay, this was a couple years ago. And I had a bunch of my guys with me, and we were all getting burger, getting ready to order. And here's the lady behind me go, "Hey, I'm here to pick up for Grubhub," or whatever. And it was like God hit me over the head with a holy sledgehammer. I didn't even see her. She was behind me. That's your person. Here she showed up at my burger in Wyzetta, and I got some burgers with me. So we looked a little sketchy. Kenny was one of them, and Gordy, and I was so excited. I said, "Hey, here's who we are." I gave him my card. I said, "God just told me that we need to bless you." And you can tell she was just touched. I said, "Well, here's what I need you to do. I'd like you to go pick up these pizzas. I'm going to have them ordered and paid for. Just deliver them to this address." And so she goes, "Yeah, that sounds good." I got so excited, I kind of left. I didn't get her phone number. Okay, but God's bigger, right? So she had my card. She did call me, but she made me sweat it out. It was like 2 days later, we're getting closer, but she called me, and sure enough, she came through. She brings the pizzas at the right time, and she, set the pizzas, and we asked her just to come on up front. So we just wanted to bless you. And so she came up front. We had an offering basket there, and the whole room emptied out. I mean, and these people, a lot of them are fresh out, have nothing. They give their shirt off their back, and they came up there and blessed her with probably an $800 to $1,000 tip. And and then she felt led to share about everything that had been going on in her life and how God had been working, or how she had been in need. And it was just the exact right God moment. We planted those seeds. We tilled that soil. We still have Carla with a K's number. Pray for her if you think of it. I let my wife reach out to the women. But, it's so cool to be able to do stuff like that. So we give our community just a time to bless people, kind of outside the box stuff, so they can see and hear what God does and experience it for themselves. So we do a lot of stuff like that. I'm almost done. I already mentioned that. So some of the things we like to provide is we do have cars that we help to get their first car. We have a full-time mechanic that gets these cars going so we can get them on the road with something reliable. We have a men's house with 6 guys at it, and we have an older, father mentor and come alongside the guys. And it's a good neighborhood in Crystal, Minnesota, real close to where we meet. We're a community, we're a family. We help the guys with jobs, steer them in the right direction. It's kind of fun because you can kind of vet the guys as they come along and see who's serious about it. If they keep coming back week after week after week, they probably need business. And we provide everybody with who wants it. So, I guess just in closing, our prayer would be, talking with you is, what does God have next? I don't want to push any doors open. I could do that really easily, but I want it to be all of God. So what does the location look like? Where we have us meet? Who would he have us, walk alongside, and who can we bless and come alongside? And that's what's just so cool about the body of Christ, right? It's I love that verse where, we all work together, and that's why we're here in this room tonight. So I appreciate you guys listening to me. John, let's see how I was doing on my time. Oh man, I was under. But I'll leave a card up here. My phone number is not on these cards, it's just the website. But if anybody wants to get my number, get it from Marlon, get it from Steve, get it from this young guy here. And keep us in your prayers. Come check it out sometime if you're ever in the Golden Valley area, or if you'd ever like to share your testimony on a Thursday night, just see what it's doing. It's a pretty interesting group. So God's good all the time. Thanks.
So Thursday night, what time?
6:30.
Okay, and it goes for about how long? Okay, and it's in Golden Valley, right on.
Yeah, right behind the Byerly's there on Duluth Street and 50 and 100.
So, and any of you are welcome. You don't need to be,
Even Jessica special.
well, that's.
Any questions quickly, since I'm not in my house?
Yes.
I'm just curious. I mean, obviously you're breaking chains. How did you come up with that name?
Exactly.
The Zach Williams, the ChainBREAKER song. Yeah. Yeah. So we just gotta be careful how much we post online about I've seen the ChainBREAKER song, because so far we're sliding on the radar. There's other ChainBREAKER groups around that we're not affiliated with. And I don't know how they operate, but that's what we're doing. We're breaking chains. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Are we out of time?
I just wanted to add a couple more things to ChainBREAKERS, even though Don did a great job.
Okay.
So, I've had the privilege to be with Don ChainBREAKERS, man. There's just so much going on. I couldn't even still touch, like,
Then just say, you be so kind as to come on up here. And so the owl can eyeball you and then record you so we can put it on YouTube.
like the Lord said, there's so many things, if we wrote them all, we wouldn't know what to write about ChainBREAKERS. But, I've had the privilege to be with them. It's like a collaborative too, because there's other things going on. I've seen all different kinds of ministries come and speak there. And then it's events too. Like you said, you just don't know what's going to happen at ChainBREAKERS. I was thinking about when they went to the tattoo place to evangelize.
Tattoos for recovery.
Yeah, or the retreat. All of a sudden, the men get together. They got women. Plus, it's co-ed. I think I don't know if you mentioned that, but you probably got that idea though. And come along, family, kids, and they have people that are taking care of kids. So family oriented. And that's pretty much all I had to say. I know I was gone for a while, and I come back, and people know I do some stuff with Firebase, and I thought, it would always be me to kind of lead Firebase in there. And next thing I know is there's 3 people that have already spoke there in a short period of time from that. And they, the focus is they really share the gospel. And another thing, like you said, they give a testimony, but there is a word there. It sometimes changes up and stuff, but man, there's some dynamic pastors and speakers that God uses to speak the word through. So that's all.
Thank you, Steve. Well, there's no way, I could have explained chain breakers, so that's why we asked Don. Because when you say meeting, okay, how many of it in our head go to, oh, is that an 12-step meeting or is it Celebrate Recovery? And there's no niche where this meeting fits into, okay? It's a place to come together and you can sort things out, okay? I don't know how else to describe it. Thanks, Tom. I did want to mention too, and Crystal's kind of put it on the website, there is Damascus Way and both Teen Challenge are on this already. But the Federal Bureau of Prisons, put out now what is called CRN, and it's Community Reentry Network. And this is the handout. So in other words, and this is on the R3 website. So this is what you could list, including Westbrook.
Yeah.
Go onto that site.
We're on it.
You're on it. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
So if you're not on it already, this is the information to be on it. It's a nationwide. So it's education, program search, organizational information, organization, of course, organizational sign up. So it's called CRN. I'm gonna put this up here too. All right. Anybody like pizza?
Yeah. See,
How about red salad?
yeah.
Huh? All right. So you wanna just say grace so we don't get a tummy ache or it's the fellowship
I'm glad
and
you
have
asked
some
me.
pizza.
I was thinking about something and it just came to my mind. Lord, we want to lift up our brother Ron Lucas today. And we just ask you blessings over his family. And be with him, and just anoint him with your peace, Lord. And we just thank you, Lord, again for the opportunity to all these people you put in our life to serve and by your blessings and with this awesome food as well. In Jesus' name.
Blessings to our bodies. All right, thank you.